I have to admit, I stayed up late last night thinking about this video. I'm talking about three things here: niche websites, Google's antitrust lawsuit, as well as Google's helpful content update, how they all relate, how they all tie together. Put on your tinfoil hats because here we go. This chart represents what happened to most niche websites during the helpful content update. People are upset. I have a very good video on this, if you haven't seen it yet, going over the helpful content update. But niche websites that were not doing X, Y, and Z seemingly got hit. And what I mean by got hit, their traffic went kaput. But we already know that. And I want to show you something new. If you haven't seen this before, pretty interesting. This is John Mueller. He is often the person who speaks for Google's search team, and I think he has good intentions, but I need you to watch this. Check this out.
No, Google's main income is from ads. Many SEOs, online marketers, etc. believe that Google makes SEO more difficult in order to increase revenue from ads. Is that true? If not, can you explain why?
Okay, before he goes on, someone asked, Google makes money via ads. Does this kind of distort how search is done in Google when someone types into Google, right? So let's see what he says.
This is definitely not true. So this is something where we have a very, very strong firewall essentially between the paid side of Google and the organic search side. And that's not something that we would kind of connect, where we would say we would make algorithms that make the search results worse so that people go and click on ads more. Because essentially, if we make our service worse, then people are going to go to other search engines.
So there he says, nope, impossible. It doesn't happen. We have the ad side. Listen, the ad side makes money for Google. The search team, they make Google awesome. These are creative people over here. These are the people who make money over here. We don't talk to each other because we need a pure type of thing at Google. Do you feel me? Now, it's important to note this was from 8 years ago. John is explaining a firewall between search, the creative people who made Google awesome, and the ads team, the people who make money for Google. There's a separation, a firewall, but he said this 8 years ago. Now, enter today the Department of Justice. The Justice Department sues Google for monopolizing digital ads technology. And there's some really, really interesting documents that I was going through last night. Now, this is the document that caught my eye. This is easily accessible on the justice.gov website. And if you look right here, it says, our best shot at making the quarter is if we can get an injection of at least X%, ideally X% queries ASAP from Chrome. What does this mean? Listen, I'm not including names here in this video of who's talking to who, because first off, I don't know these people. Second off, I haven't done enough research to understand who's talking to who. But I do know it's someone from the sales team talking to someone from the search team, right? The money people, the creative people. And look, I showed John Mueller's video. I think John has great intentions. He's part of the search team. I don't think he's part of any of this. We just use that as a basis of a pre-existing firewall between both the parties. So let's look at the document one more time. It says our best shot at making the quarter. Okay, that means how much money Google needs to make because it's publicly traded is if we get an injection of at least X%, ideally X% queries ASAP from Chrome. A sales guy is saying, look, we're not going to make our numbers. We're not going to hit the numbers we need in revenue. We need more people clicking through to these terms that have high CPC, the cost per click, how Google makes money. Now, this is where things get a little weird and pretty darn interesting. Look, we started at the top here. This is a big document, one of two that I was looking at. And like I told you, I don't have all the answers, but this is interesting. Eventually, it seems they rolled out in 2019. Look, the Chrome team was able to rally and make a couple of heroic things happen. So this is the search team helping the sales team hit their numbers. With your team's help, we were able to get launch approval to roll out some changes. Entity suggest and tail suggest. Okay, it increased queries. What do they mean? Why do they want queries to increase? Well, if they force people into Google search to specific queries that have high CPC associated with them, right? There's advertisers behind these specific queries. Google makes money. Number two, we're going to immediately start experiments to improve search ranking in the Omnibox. What the heck is the Omnibox? I mean, it's right in front of your face. I didn't realize what it was called, but more search results in nudging search to the top. They're nudging. Whenever you're nudging these type of things, it's never a good thing. They're nudging search to the top. Why? As soon as we get the data around these improvements, we'll roll out these things 100% within 2 to 3 weeks. And then there's other stuff too. I mean, Some of this stuff had my head spinning, but let me show you about the Omnibox. Think about it for a second. This is Google search, right? Google search, the top lawyers in the world, right? What shows up here would be considered auto suggest, but do you see up here at the top lawyers, right? If I were to type that in right here, top lawyers, that's the Omnibox right here. And what they're saying is, can we show results here? These top ones to kind of encourage people to click on the ones that have high CPC behind them. In other words, I just click this and the Snyder Law Group and Injury Firm Maryland show up. Google makes money if I click on these things. Therefore, if it encourages people up here at the top, like we just did in the Omnibox, this is what they're talking about. If they have certain SERPs up there, keywords that they're encouraging us through some sort of auto suggest to click, they're going to make more money. Now check this out. This I will link in the description. Search Engine Journal, email show Google search ad execs plotting to increase ad revenue. We've talked about this. But nonetheless, there is a second document. This is pretty gnarly. Check this out. So the second document right here, let's read this. This is something. I don't know who wrote this. Like I said, I'm not naming names. It doesn't matter to me. But let's check this out. Search advertising is one of the world's greatest businesses ever created. Maybe Windows is on that same level as Christian and I discussed at dinner. And there are certainly illicit businesses such as cigarettes or drugs that could rival these economics. But we are fortunate to have an amazing business. So off the bat, they're likening Google's business model, the economics of it, to drugs. Great. Part of what has been so amazing is that we have essentially been able to ignore some of the fundamental laws of economics. Businesses need to worry about supply and demand. And they're going to go on to say, we don't need to worry about demand because demand is always there. Right? So what else do they talk about? Situation. So we're entering a new world with a lot of uncertainty about how to adjust our incentives and targets. There's something here. I'm going to find it. That was very, very interesting to me. This is it. When I talk to my search friends, okay, so I can assume this is a ads person. I hear similar fear around not focusing on the next generation of search users. So they're talking about the younger people coming up, right? Are these younger people going to use google.com even if lower monetizing today, right? Because they don't have purchasing power. Avoiding any metrics or targets that could lead to unnatural search experience and to chase revenue in daily, active users, I think, not queries. So in other words, how many, I think that is daily active users is one of the key metrics that matter. So what they're saying here is, yeah, some of these things we're rolling out is for the new generation. We just need to get them addicted to our product. That's what I believe. This is my opinion, right? Proposal, I believe both sides have a valid point and any solutions need to proceed slowly. So both sides, what are the sides? There's ads, there's search. The search side, if you read these documents, it seems to me they are a creative force. These are people, engineers, that just like to make things, make it awesome, make cool things, right? So here's my proposal for experimenting. Leave the search team alone to focus on the search experience that they do best and focus on growing DAUs around the world, daily active users. We need more people because guess what? When they get people in the door, when they get them addicted to the product, then they can turn the screw and figure out how to monetize. Now let's wrap this thing in a pretty bow. I'm going to tell you what I think about niche websites after this. But check it out. They say, when I talk to folks in ads and revenue, I hear fear and frustration. They're mad that they are held to revenue targets, so they have to make their numbers, where they only control half the picture. The old model of things getting thrown over the wall to them has outlived its usefulness. So they see this firewall that John Mueller was talking about and things thrown over the wall, right? The ads team throwing something over the search team because they don't have this mesh, and rightfully so, because you don't want to mesh them because it becomes less of an organic experience and it's all about profits. But as you can see here, yet again, salespeople pressuring for them to come over to the search team and dictate how this thing goes. So what does this mean for niche websites? Which I think that term niche websites really stinks, by the way, because Google sees niche websites. I think they see it as a negative thing. Why? Because niche website owners are outside of the ecosystem. You are outside of Google's ecosystem. What do I mean? Yes, you may display ads on your website and Google gets a piece, but you'll never, ever, ever purchase an ad such as a law firm will. right? A law firm will spend big money with Google. A real business may one day become a client of Google. So niche websites, I think we should turn our thinking, how can we be included in the eyes of Google to their ecosystem? Because as you can see, they're a publicly traded company. Profits are on their mind. I'm making my websites to be perceived as real businesses with real services, with real products. Why? Because they can see my thing, my website, potentially being a client of theirs one day. And maybe, just maybe, they'll give my website more love than your niche website.